Good morning. So today we are going to talk about Shavuos. It's going to connect to what we spoke about last week, but we're going to kind of come in a bit of a roundabout way to get to Shavuos. Right when we spoke about last week, we talked about how Chassidus understands what happened at Mount Sinai. We talked about what happened halachically speaking to the Jewish people at Sinai. They became part of the covenant. And we talked about how Chassidus understands this, the moment when Hashem empowers the Jew to elevate the physical world and what that means and what that entails. So today we're going to elaborate more on that. We're going to read an interesting text together, which I'll tell you in a moment. But we're going to start with today's Hayom Yom and conclude with tomorrow's Hayom Yom. So Hayom Yom, you might know, is this basically a calendar that the Rebbe put together in 1943 and 44. The calendar runs from the 19th of Kislev, the new year for Chassidus, to the next year, 19th of Kislev, and it includes a little thought for every day of the year. So the Hayom Yom entry for today is what I'm going to start with and conclude with tomorrow's Hayom Yom, today for the 4th and then tomorrow for the 5th. So the Hayom Yom for the 4th of Sivan reads as follows. And this is kind of an introduction, just broadly speaking, just to appreciate the Yom Tov of Shavuos. Not directly related to what we're going to talk about, but then tomorrow's Hayom Yom is going to be the sum total of everything we talked about. So let's read today's Hayom Yom. It reads, Chag HaShavuos. It's not in there. That text I'll tell you in a second where to look. So the Hayom Yom reads for today, 4th of Sivan. Chag HaShavuos, the holiday of Shavuos, Uzman HaMokshir is an appropriate time. Lasas HaKol, to achieve or do everything. L'toivos limud haTorah, for the betterment of one's Torah study. Va'avoda, and one's service, b'yirah shamayim, in the fear of heaven. V'chein, likewise. Lis'asek b'tshuva, to be invested in teshuva. B'nogeh l'Torah, with respect to one's Torah study. Be'ein mafrim esatan makatrig, without the interference of the Satan, literally, who accuses, who opposes. Kedugmas, this is akin to Zman Hatkiyas Rosh Hashanah, the time of blowing the shofar at Rosh Hashanah, the Yom HaKadosh, and the holy day, the Tzom Kippur of Yom Kippur. So, remember here is quoting from his father-in-law, comparing Shavuos as it regards to organizing oneself and their Torah study, and the Teshuvah and the resolution to set oneself up in their Torah study and fear of heaven. The power to do that on Shavuos is equal to the shofar on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, without any opposing sides that want to prevent someone from achieving what they want to achieve in their Torah study. So it's a very powerful statement with regard to what Shavuos is able to achieve. Today's Hayom Yom. Wow. So we're going to conclude with tomorrow's Hayom Yom, which as we're going to see is going to be a sum total of everything we're going to talk about.
So the whole Shavuos.
Yeah, it doesn't give a moment. Just as the holiday of Shavuos in general, Chag HaShavuos. Yeah.
Even the rabbinic part of Shavuos, the second day.
Presumably, doesn't delineate. Okay, so the text we want to read with you today, which again is going to take us by a roundabout to Shavuos, comes from the Tanya, but it's actually the preface to Tanya. It's on page Roman numerals, page 13. So XIII. Now this is one of the few texts when you're reading it in English, you're reading the original. It's not a translation. It wasn't written in Yiddish or Hebrew and then translated. It was written in English by the Rebbe himself. And the Rebbe wrote this on the occasion of the first translation of the Tanya into English. There's a whole history to the translation and the Rebbe's involvement and how it was done, and where it was done, and where they ever wanted it to be printed. But essentially, I think in 1973, 1974, somewhere there, it was published in full in English. And there's actually beautiful pictures of the Rebbe standing outside 770 in the front, like giving a copy of the new English Tanya to each of the people who were involved in the printing. A whole delegation came from England, translators and sponsors and printers and whatnot. Okay, so the Rebbe wrote a preface to the English Tanya. So you can study it like without any middleman, because it's written in English originally. It's not in translation, right? You're not trusting the translator. This is Rebbe's words. And As we'll see, I think it requires a lot of study. So let's read. At least we'll read the first two paragraphs at least. So, prefaced by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Chassidus in general, and Chabad Chassidus in particular, is an all-embracing world outlook and way of life. So before we get to what the all-embracing world outlook is and the way of life is, just that choice of words. If someone wanted to define what Chassidus is, I think it is notable that the Rebbe did not use the word philosophy. He could have. He could have said, is it philosophy and way of life? But he doesn't. He says it's an all-embracing world outlook and way of life. I think that is significant. I believe so. And I think the reason is because philosophy can be in complete abstraction. Number one. Number two, it isn't necessarily all-embracing. A philosophy could be about a certain area of life or a certain area of thinking, but an all-embracing world outlook leaves no room in which this way of thinking does not have its effect, which is what they were trying to say. That Chassidus in general, and Chabad in particular, is an all-encompassing, all-embracing world outlook, which means when a person puts on the glasses of Chassidus, it changes the way they see everything, which is important, because it's not only that Chassidus adds a new dimension to Torah, which one could also say, and it would be accurate, but this is much more than that. By giving a new dimension to Torah, it actually changes my entire world outlook. So everything I look at in the world, when I'm looking at myself, or looking at my purpose and mission in life, I'm looking at Hashem, good morning, welcome, or I'm looking at relationships, my whatever I'm looking at, it's all going to be viewed through this all-embracing world outlook. Okay. Welcome to our shiur.
Thanks.
And welcome to Montreal.
And Mazel Tov, by the way.
And Mazel Tov. Okay, so that's number one. It's an all-embracing world outlook. And number two, way of life. So it's not just the way I see the world, but the way I act in it. Now, these words, that Chabad and Chassidus in general is an all-embracing world outlook and way of life, there's two things, parallel something else in Hayom Yom. So at the end of Hayom Yom, which is the end, right, it ends on 19th of Kislev, as I explained, it starts on 19th of Kislev and ends on the 18th of Kislev. So after the entry for the 18th of Kislev, there's a little paragraph here. Right, this is the entry for the 18th of Kislev, and then there's a little paragraph. And this paragraph, we have the copy of the manuscript, was added by the previous Rebbe in his own handwriting. Meaning, when the Rebbe submitted either his manuscript or the proof text for the Hayom Yom, the previous Rebbe added this line. And the line reads, Good Yom Tov, referring to the Yom Tov of Yutis Kislev, coming up tomorrow. May you be inscribed and sealed for a good year in the study of Chassidus and in the ways of Chassidus. Right, giving a blessing that the next year of Chassidus, which begins on Yutis Kislev, on the 19th of Kislev, should be blessed for a good year in the study of Chassidus and the way of Chassidus. These two things, which I think parallel all-embracing world outlook and way of life. Right? Right? The study of Chassidus helps us get that all-embracing world outlook. And then, in addition to that, there's also the ways of Chassidus, the way of life, the acting out in accordance with that all-embracing world outlook. Okay. So what's at the core of this all-embracing world outlook and way of life? Continues the Rebbe, the second line. So which sees the Jew's central purpose as the unifying link between the Creator and creation. That's at the core of this world outlook and way of life, is that my position in this world, right? It's an all-embracing world outlook. So the world exists, and it's a way of life. So life exists, and the world exists, and then I have to see myself and act in accordance with particular way of thinking about the world. Right? And it sees me as the unifying link between Creator and the creation. Okay? Now, what does that mean to be the unifying link? He's going to elaborate, but just to explain what he's doing here. One could have a Torah view which says the center point of my world outlook is to refine myself, to become a better person. These are all valid things. To develop a relationship with God, to get Olam Haba, to promulgate goodness in the world. Right? There's lots of things you can say that would be the center of how I see myself in the world. But specifically here is the unifying link between Creator and creation. It's a very unique way of understanding your position in the world. It's not even about refining myself or becoming a better person. The refining myself and becoming a better person is only valid insofar as it augments and helps me be a better link between the Creator and creation. But if it doesn't serve that way, then it doesn't fulfill my purpose, even if I'm becoming a better person. So I've refined myself, great, but I haven't fulfilled my role as the link between Creator and creation, between God and the world. Which also means that without my work, Creator and creation are actually in opposition. Because creation, definitionally, says, I'm here and I have needs.
Sorry, to go back. Without my work, Creator and creation are in opposition?
They're not, I don't know if they're in opposition, but they're definitely not together, right? If I'm the link, if my job is to be the unifying link between Creator and creation, it means without,
sorry.
if I'm the unifying link.
Oh, I'm not creation, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, we'll see in a second how I can.
missed it. No, I missed it. I thought you meant I was thinking Hashem and us. You're saying
No.
Hashem and the world.
Correct.
And then our
Creation and creator, my role is to
Sorry,
be the
I
link
missed
between
that.
these two things,
I got
which
it.
means if I don't play out my role,
No.
then creator and creation are somewhat separate. And that's why otherwise my being a link is not relevant. Right? Because creation in and of itself declares we are here, we have needs. Right? And creator in and of itself declares there's only one reality, one truth, and this is the creator himself.
No, we're not considered part of creation. I'm just curious.
Great question. We're going to get that in a second.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's going to be the very next paragraph because that way, precisely, yeah,
Thank you.
right. But right, so we're understanding how we see the world. The Creator has His version of reality, in which everything is just an expression of Him. Creation has its version of reality, that they exist and they have needs and they have opinions and desires and whatnot. And then there's the Jew who's got to be the link between the two. And that's my role in the world. And everything I'm doing, and everything I see, right, it's a way of all-embracing world outlook and way of life. So everything I look at, everything I see, everything I experience, everything I do is all in the context of, or toward the goal of, being the link between Creator and creation. Okay, so now the question becomes, if we're the link between Creator and creation, what are we? What are we? If we're going to be a link between Creator and creation, we have to have within us both Creator and creation. Because if we don't have both, then we're not that link, which is the very next line. The Jew is a creature of heaven and of earth, of a heavenly divine soul, which is truly a part of godliness, so he's got that element of Creator, clothed in an earthly vessel constituted of physical body and animal soul. Earthly creation. So because I'm neither creation nor Creator, because I have an element of both, that's how I can serve as a link.
That makes us both, not neither.
Okay, yes, correct. That's a better way of putting it. Both. So now we have to address, with me? So far? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we have, what do you say?
I'm thinking. It's
Okay.
We're going to keep going.
All right, so as the link between, if we want to use the word link in English, like literally, like a link in a chain, and Chassidus actually talks about this notion of link. How a link, on the top end of a link, you're inside the higher realm, and at the bottom end of the link, you're inside the lower realm. And funnily enough, that when you go up to the higher realm, you're higher than the higher, and when you come lower to the lower realm, you're lower than the low. That's how you serve as a chain, because you're circling right as a link in a chain. Literally, physical link in a chain. The top half is higher than the higher, and the bottom half is lower than the lower, right? Because and that's how we are as links, because we can be in both of these extremes, and we do. The godliest of godly, and the creationist of creationists. Not in the sense of believing in creation, in the sense of animalistic and indulgent all the way to the bottom end. We can be of both. And by design, because that's how we become the link between Creator and creation, by having within us these two opposites almost. Not almost, literally opposites. Okay, now there's a key word here that I want to highlight. The word clothed, right? So how do the two things come together? The divinely heavenly spark and the animal earthly vessel. The earthly vessel constituted of a physical body and animal soul. The word is clothed, right? That's the word he uses. The Jew is a creature of heaven and earth, of a heavenly divine soul, which is truly part of godliness, clothed in an earthly vessel, and this earthly vessel is constituted of physical body and animal soul. Right? So the word "clothed" is the noun, right? It's the one that connects the two.
The analogy.
No, not the analogy. There's a word for it in English when there's a word inside of a sentence that connects the first half of the sentence to the second half of the sentence.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a grammarist, but there is a word for it. Because we're describing two different things. We describe the divine soul, the conjunction, thank you, that's actually the right word, conjunction, right? The divine soul, which is truly part of godliness, that's one part of the sentence, and then there's an earthly vessel constituted of a physical body and animal soul, and the relationship is, in the middle word, clothed. This is clothed in that. So what does that mean? Just 2 minutes on the word clothed, which comes up a lot in Chassidus. In Hebrew, it's hislapshus. That's the Ashkenazi pronunciation. Melubosh, levosh, something like that. And essentially it means just like this. Quite physically, when I put on clothing, the clothing does two things at once. On the one hand, it hides me physically. On the other hand, it allows me to be revealed, because without clothing, it would be very inappropriate for me to sit here, right? And so on the one hand, it's hiding me physically, but that hiding, that concealment, is what allows me actually to be present and manifest and express. And depending on the scenario, I'm going to put on another pair of clothing. I'm coming to MTC and I'm giving a class, I'm wearing a white shirt, and if I was going to go to do construction, I'm going to put on something else entirely. And if I'm going for a run, I'm putting something else on entirely, right? So I'm always hiding myself. It's the same me, it's the same physical body there, but every time the body needs to present itself somewhere else, it's going to put itself into a different set of clothing so that it can hide itself, and in so doing, reveal itself to another realm. So clothing serves as both that which conceals and reveals. This is true of every symptom of every keli. It both conceals and reveals. For example, another example, before we get to the soul and body. Another example is ideas and words. So I'm using words now to express ideas. Are those words concealing the idea or revealing the idea? They're doing both. With a feeling, it's even better, because if I have a feeling, right, and I want to express that feeling, so if I'm a healthy individual, I'm going to use words to express that feeling, right? Now, do those words conceal the feeling, or do they reveal the feeling? They're both simultaneously, because the feeling I have is much larger than those little words that I just said. And sometimes the words don't even capture it completely, and I'm struggling, trying to get it out there, right? So the feeling is being like concealed in those words. But that's the only way I can reveal it to the person I'm trying to communicate the feelings to. So the clothing, the vessel, both, uses the word vessel here too, an earthly vessel, right? Clothed in an earthly vessel. The clothing or the vessel both conceal the content and reveal it. I mean, vessel physically. I can't hold the water without the cup. So the cup is hiding the water, yes, but it's also revealing it to me. It's giving me the water. Otherwise, I can't hold the water. This is true of everything. All communication, any transmission of content from point A to point B is going to come through clothing or vessel, in which the content's going to be concealed and that way revealed. The same thing happens with a neshama and a body. A neshama in and of itself, without a body, has no revelation on this earth. It's completely concealed from this earth. It can be floating around, but it's not relevant. It's not revealed to this earth. Because it doesn't have a vessel in which it can enclose itself to express itself here on this plane, right? So when the neshama comes clothed in the body, it's both concealed in the body, but also now revealed in the body. Because without that body, the neshama is a non-actor. Might exist, but not on this plane. Just like my feelings don't exist in your mind unless I clothe them into words and hand them to you. Otherwise, they exist in my realm, not in yours. So they're completely concealed from your realm if I don't clothe them in words. So the neshama is completely concealed from our reality if it's not enclosed in a body, and then it can reveal itself in this world. But in that same revelation to the world, it's concealing itself, it's clothed. Right? That's point one. Point two about clothing is that once one thing is enclosed in another, the two become really one entity. Right? So the feelings that I have that are put into the words are now one singular unit that exists in your mind. Hopefully you can extract from the words my feelings, but it's always going to be attached to the words. It's always going to be attached to the clothing. Right? So, in the analogy of neshama and body, someone takes my arm and pulls me, they can just pull my body. My neshama comes also. It's not as my neshama stays behind. My neshama comes with it, right? Because it's enclosed in the body, and now its current version of expressing itself is in the garment, the clothing, this vessel of the body, then it's going to be fully submerged with the body such that I point at someone and say, you, I both mean the person's body and the neshama that's in there. because they become of a one entity. And that's part of the point here of being a link between creator and creation. It's not as if I stand in the middle as a playing field and up there is creator in my experience and down there is my earthly vessel in experience. One is enclosed in the other, so it's both. I contain in one movement, in one reality, both creator and creation. It's not as if in me they remain two different things. My earthly body and then my godly soul. I don't experience them as separate. Because one's clothed in the other, I experience them as one singular unit. So I contain as a singularity, as one single thing comprised of these two things, one interacting with the other. And either one of two things are happening. Either the animal soul is being a vehicle to express my godly soul, or it's dragging my godly soul to a place it doesn't want to go. But they're always going to be intertwined because one's enclosed in the other. So wherever I go, both are going. If my godly soul decides to express itself, it's going to be the body that's doing it. It's who's putting on the tefillin, who's letting Shabbos capitals. It's my body. Right? And if I'm going to, God forbid, go engage in some sin, it's not as if my godly soul stayed home. It's also there. So as the link between creator and creation, it's not as if I stand on the outside as a neutral party picking up creator from here and creation from there. It's I myself as a being in of itself is a link because I contain both always because one is enclosed in the other. Because my divine spark is clothed in an earthly vessel constituted of physical body and animal soul.
Is the entire neshama in the vessel of the body?
That is a very good question and the answer is no.
Okay, because it wouldn't be possible.
No, correct.
What do you
No,
say?
wait. That's crazy.
What do you
I
say?
just asked that question.
Oh, you were thinking that?
No. It's so crazy.
What was the question?
Chassidus, the question was,
Where's
is the
the
entire
rest?
soul enclosed in the body?
In the body.
What does it mean? There's
In-
parts of us floating around.
But enclosed in the body would mean that you would be fully conscious of it. If you're not fully conscious of it, it's not clothed in the body. Right? It's there, but it's not clothed. You can't say it's clothed in the body. Using this word enclosed, and we just described it.
My physical body gives me control over my neshama. I use my physical body to have
Correct.
control and to do things and to execute mitzvahs.
Correct.
To connect. But you're telling me this.
All of that is
neshama
is
there
one
is
level
not-
neshama.
Okay, that's a crazy.
You want to know exactly? It's called nefesh. You want to know the exact name.
I feel like what you're saying is explosive.
It's a number of places in Chassidus talk about
There's
it. No, I
parts
understand.
of me that I'm trying to understand the impact.
Well, you have to understand this word clothed. It comes down to understanding this word clothed. The word clothed means that whatever's in there is fully immersed in there to the point that it becomes one entity. How much of my neshama can I say is one entity with my body?
No, you're saying a bunch
There are
of
certain
souls
parts of
out
it.
there,
Yeah, there are certain
all
parts.
of our souls are
Isn't our
mixing?
soul also a piece of God? So
Correct.
the fact that God is everywhere.
Right, but enclosed in the body means in the body's experience, it's there. How much of my godly self is truly experienced in my body?
But
It's to a limited degree. There are certain parts that are so purely godly that it can't be experienced in the same physical way.
But maybe some people more, like depending
Sure.
on your vessel.
Yeah.
Or the there could,
And your-
it's
and your
possible
work.
Some people bring in more of their neshama.
And your work.
They say that
And your work, yes. And
If-
yeah,
if-
absolutely.
If your vessel is more elevated or larger, then you could bring in more of your neshama.
Connect, bring in or connect.
Let's think of it as
Have
simple.
Have it enclosed.
Let's just look at every human being. A baby is born. So the person has a neshama in the body. Is that neshama that's in their body, that's a baby, enclosed in the body to such a degree that the body is expressing itself and the godly soul? Not really. It's babies crying and saying, feed me, change me, and pick me up. That's not very godly. That's just me. That's animal soul in its pure sense. Right?
You're saying a neshama is a static thing that has infinite potential, and then what are we doing with it every day?
Something like that. And the more the person's doing with it, the more it's enclosed in the body.
You're
Right?
bringing-
But
Correct?
think
It's
of
manifest-
neshama as something completely spiritual, not physical at all.
It's limitless.
So it's limitless. So how do you take something limitless and put it into a body? It's totally
Just
it
interested
makes
in
no
the
sense.
To such a degree that it's
my neshama
enclosed.
out there versus her neshama.
We're
Like,
saying
I'm
that
just
Correct.
you're
trying to
90%
understand.
neshama, she's 30%.
Like I just, yeah.
I know. Again, the
It's
key.
a very-
Everybody's 100% neshama. The key word here is clothed. To what degree of that is clothed within the body?
Clothed or expressed.
Same
Same
difference, right? So think of the baby who has its own unique neshama, and how much of that neshama is enclosed in that physical body of the baby. Very, very little. But as it grows older and starts to engage in more Torah and more mitzvahs, and it becomes bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah, then the neshama is fully enclosed in the body because now it's capable of fully expressing
No,
itself
now
through
you're
the body.
saying that our behavior is the link to enclosing. Now you're saying that we have to do things.
In order for the body, well,
Yeah.
how else does the body experience anything besides for acting?
But we already-
You're talking about the physical body. In what way?
All your
But we
neshama,
have
I
Hashem
don't
that's
understand.
inside us.
100%. That's not necessarily the same thing as enclosed.
But think of like
Right? Think of the word again. Let's using the word enclosed again. So this is the key word here: is the word clothed. Right? I'm expressing a feeling through words, right? So I gave one sentence. How much of the feeling is enclosed in that sentence? Very little. I add 3 sentences. Now more of the feeling, and I add more sentences, and the more sentences, the more words I give, the more I can enclose that feeling I have into more words. But if I don't say words, I just said one sentence. Well, I gave you the feeling. I know you did, but you didn't really enclose much of it in there for me to unpack as a listener of you telling me how you feel, right? Because you didn't give me a lot of clothing for it. You gave me one sentence. It's not a lot. If you give me more sentences, you give me more words, now I can get more of the feeling, hopefully.
It's not fair that I'm saying this, but that's more of an external thing, and we're talking about like internal spiritual.
Right, but you're talking about internally into your body. What is your body doing most of the time? 90% of the time, your body is self-preserving. That's not godly, right? So how much of your body physically has in it expression of godly soul? It's a lot of work to do that.
It's a constant fight between my neshama yearning for spirituality and my physical.
Okay, well,
body
we're
trying
talking
to
about the
balance
link.
the fight, but I don't assume that parts of my this maybe I'm not articulating the concept. I feel like this concept that you just talked about is like so shocking. That there's parts of my neshama that are not fully. I haven't captured them
But you
yet,
know the
or
idea of like
or they are.
bar mitzvah, neshama is not fully developed. That's the whole celebration of it.
Never heard of
But it's in there. I'm
Never
just
heard
saying,
of
I'm
that?
still layering. Like
what I
I'm
teach.
still uncovering.
Sorry?
The concept of uncover, the concept of refinement,
Yeah.
still means it's within me, and I'm just doing behavior.
So that's why I keep on saying the key word here is enclosed. It could be in there, but it's not enclosed in my body. It's not expressing itself through the body.
But I don't feel like I have.
Sorry?
I didn't think I was in control of clothing it. Like I.
Well, to some degree, you are, absolutely. The more I use my mind to think of soul ideas, now the more my mind is clothing to my soul.
Like
Less I think about soul ideas, the less it's going to be enclosed in my mind.
You told me the baby's born. Hashem puts in a shama in. Okay,
It's not necessarily enclosed in the experience.
Simplistic.
Correct, but it's not necessarily enclosed in the experience of the body. Because that body is not operating on... What is it?
Hashem wants it to do with its capabilities. Same way I could say like about Shuva, they're expressing their most at that time. Like the
That's not the same thing. The plant is doing what Hashem wants also.
Okay.
It's not a godly soul. So the fact that the baby is doing what Hashem wants it to do is because it's living out its biological urges, which is another fancy way of saying animal soul. It eats, sleeps, drink. Mommy's tired, too bad. I'm hungry.
Which is the path to becoming a Jew, though.
Because it's being human. It's called being human. Right? Then as it develops, more and more of the godly soul is enclosed in the body, so it's a little less selfish. It's a little more thinking about God and purpose and what it's supposed to do here in this world. So that's more and more of the godly soul being enclosed in its bodily experience. Until such time it becomes bar bat mitzvah. Now it's fully capable of being enclosed in the body.
How did you ask the question? As all of our neshama, what did you ask?
If all the neshama is enclosed in the body, the answer is no, it's not. Right? Some things remain subconscious, some things remain transcendent from my enclosed embodied experience.
And aren't there like 5 levels of soul, and we only
There
really
are.
have access to like 3 max?
We can get technical about it, but yeah, something like that. That's what that means. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's put that aside now. Sorry, I have to add in more clarity or more confusion.
Yeah.
Right? Actually, okay, if you remind me, I'll way back when I did for my Chassidus in the morning a little series on this whole idea of the soul's investment in the body and the layers of that. Remind me, I'll send it to you. It's 4 or 5 parts, I think, on various different layers.
It's a big topic.
Very deep.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, but the main point I wanted to highlight here is in this word "clothed" is that us as a link, right? Rebbe is telling us that our Chassidus tells us this all-embracing world outlook, a way of life which sees us as unifying between creator and creation. Being a link between creator and creation is not to say that you stand on the outside pulling 2 things together. What it means is that you, in and of yourself, as a being, are a link because you have in you both of these elements, and both these elements exist as one submersive experience because one is enclosed in the other. My godly soul is enclosed in my animal soul and body, and therefore wherever my body goes, my godly soul is there, and wherever my godly soul acts, it's going to act through the body because one is enclosed in the other. So they can't operate without each other so long as we're alive in this world. Okay, that's the main point. Now let's continue. Whose purpose is, right, so now the purpose of this godly soul is enclosed into the physical body, like clothed in the earthly vessel, constituting physical body and animal soul, whose purpose is to realize. I think the word realize here doesn't mean to like acknowledge. Realize, I think, means to like fulfill. Yeah, like to actualize, to realize. So whose purpose is to realize the transcendency of unity and unity of his nature, the transcendency of unity of the godly soul's nature, and of the world in which he lives. The world in which he lives is also transcendent and united within the absolute unity of God. It's quite the sentence. Let's read it again. Mm-hmm. So, the Jew is a creature of heaven and earth, of a heavenly divine soul, which is truly a part of godliness, clothed in an earthly vessel, constant of physical body and animal soul. So I have both in there. I have a godly soul that's been enclosed into this physical earthly being, whose purpose is, why is it busy enclothing itself here? So first of all, it's got to realize its own transcendency and unity of its own nature, that it, the godly soul, notwithstanding the fact that it's enclosed in the body, and that's how it's experiencing life, is inherently transcendent from the notion of body. That's what it really is. Even though I'm only experiencing it through my body, because it's completely enclosed in my body, nonetheless, I need to realize and actualize the transcendency and unity of that nature, because I'm not dispersed like my body's dispersed. It has a need to go to sleep, and a need to eat, and a need for validation, and a need for this, and all these disparate mix-up of needs. It's a unified thing. It's a unified thing transcendent from all this stuff.
Why?
So first of all, I got to realize that.
Why is
Okay.
it transcendent?
It's transcendent of all the urges and desires and needs that my body has. My godly soul inherently is transcendent of all that. It's been stuck into this thing, but it's really transcendent of all that. So that's number one. I got to realize that. Right? That I'm not, at the core, my godly soul is not stuck. It's invested in, but it's not defined by all these needs that I have all around me. Number one. So the transcendency and unity of its own nature. And it's true of the world in which I live. So the world in which I live, which actually was creation, not creator, right? It's this thing that's separate with a bunch of different needs and a bunch of different urges and a bunch of different things happening. Once I realize my own transcendency from it, I can see that actually the truth is of the world as well. It's also beyond those stupidities. Because really, it's within the absolute unity of God. So even this whole world that I see around me, with all of its various different aspects and components, once I realize that I am at the core beyond it, then I can look at the world and say, you're also beyond all this, because really you're all one within Hashem. And therefore everything in this world really only should just express you, Hashem. You following? It's a very loaded paragraph here that gives us like the whole Chassidus condensed into like one paragraph. That was giving us an English definition of Chassidus in one paragraph. It's amazing. It should be studied more.
Danger here, though, that the result of what you just said is that some of my goals could be very selfish in the world. Like if I'm just trying to connect with the transcendent nature of my neshama, takes the focus off of doing mitzvahs and connecting with it. You tell me, okay, well the way to connect with the rest of your transcendent neshama is to do mitzvahs and connect. The focus would be on me and trying to refine
Very good.
my neshama.
So very good. So if all I did was realize the transcendency and unity of his own nature and I stopped there, then I wouldn't be a link between creator and creation. I'd be a person escaping creation going to creator.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
But if I'm a link between creator and creation, I first of all have to realize my element of creator and then realize that in the whole world around me. Right? Which is what he says here. Whose purpose is to realize there's transcendency and unity of his nature and of the world in which he lives. And now I'm the link between creator and creation within the absolute unity of God. Because now I became the link between creator and creation. If I only focused on the transcendency of unity of my nature, the first part of that sentence, then I wouldn't be the link between creator and creation. I'd be escaping creation, going to creator.
But I'm just trying to capture
Right? So he's saying to do both. But first I have to realize the potential I have. In other words, like this. If I saw myself only as a creation, I'm also not a link between creator and creation. I'm just a creation. I'm running around fulfilling my own needs. So I'm not serving as a link. If I only saw the transcendency of my soul and its ability, then I was just running away from creation, going into creator. And because I'm a link between creator and creation, I have to do both of those. I have to first of all recognize that my neshama is not part of creation. Right? It's the transcendency and unity of his own nature. And once I acknowledge that my neshama is not part of creation, it's just stuck in creation, then I can see the truth of Hashem in all of creation.
Oh, I don't understand. Not part of creation. What do you mean not part of creation?
It's
physicality. You mean the neshama?
No, not even spirituality. It's a spark of godliness, right? It's not
Creator side.
It's creator side. It's a spark of creator. It's not creation.
This is creation.
This is my body's creation, but inside me there's a spark that's of creator. So first I have to recognize and acknowledge that spark of creator that's transcendent from this whole creation business. And then once I feel that in me, then I can realize that in the entire world I live. That all of this is also within the unity of Hashem. It's not somewhere else. And now I'm the link between creator and creation. Because I'm actualizing my creator. I'm actualizing the creator spark. And then I'm seeing that in the world around me and acting it out in the world around me. Being a link between creator and creation. very, very powerful statement here. Okay?
When he says that realize the transcendency and unity, he's also referring to the world in which he lives.
So his purpose, well, both, right? Because he starts off by saying his purpose is to realize the transcendency and unity of his nature. I think the word here, his, is referring to the godly soul. If you follow the whole sentence.
Yeah.
Right? The heavenly divine spark clothed in an earthly vessel, whose purpose is refers to the godly soul that enclothed itself, to realize the transcendency and unity of his nature and of the world in which he lives.
The transcendency and unity of the world in which he lives.
Correct? Because it's within the absolute unity of God. But first, recognizing my own transcendency and unity, recognizing that there's a spark of me that's beyond, there's a spark in me that's beyond creation, and then I could see it in creation. Because if one of the two things wouldn't work. If I only saw myself as part of creation, then I'm just part of creation, I'm not serving as a link to the Creator. If all I focus was on, oh my gosh, I have this godly soul and that's it, then I'm also not serving as a link between Creator and creation. I'm escaping creation and running to Creator. But if I'm supposed to be a link, then I have to do both. I have to first of all actualize and recognize, tap into the Creator spark inside of me, and then once I've tapped into the Creator spark inside of me, I can then see Creator spark in all of creation, in the the world in which He lives within the absolute unity of God.
So why is there like such an emphasis on like getting close to Hashem?
Sorry,
Why is there like such an emphasis on?
that's a great question. Nowhere in this whole paragraph does it say get close to God. It's amazing, right? Doesn't say that.
Why do we live our life like getting closer to Hashem?
Right. So the getting closer to Hashem is, as far as this paragraph goes, is valuable insofar as through doing that you're bringing God into the world.
We're not revealing more of the transcendent aspect of our neshama. We're not,
And then within creation, not escaping creation.
which I still think is selfish. But
Sorry?
Which I'm still seeing as
You're never going to
selfish.
escape I. Like my father likes to say, you're never going to escape the word I. But at least put the ani after modeh. Instead of ani, modeh, modani. Put it second. The I is not going anywhere. But acknowledge do I rather than I acknowledge. It's a little softened. Because you can't really escape the sense of I. We're not supposed to. Right? Because it's a godly soul enclosed in an animal soul. So that sense of ego and my needs is not going anywhere. But first of all, I'm recognizing that there's a part of me that's beyond that. And then acting that part of me in the world around me. So then everything I'm doing, I'm expressing this truth that Hashem, you're the only reality. Because there's a part of me which is connected to that truth that God's the only reality. The creator element in me, and then bringing it into the creation element of me.
And what does it mean realize? Because
That's why I think the word realize means actualize.
It's action oriented.
I don't think it's cognitive. Maybe it is cognitive, but because the word realize can mean two things in English. It can either mean like cognitively, I figured it out, or I acted it out. Read the whole sentence and you tell me. I think it means.
It's very vague
Unless it means
as
both.
far as what that means. Realize the transcendency and unity.
Okay, so that's the
means,
next.
like I have to think about it.
That's the next
meditate
paragraph.
on it, you know what I mean?
So that's the next paragraph now.
I'm saying this was written in English. This isn't even.
Yeah, this is the original.
This is the only part that was actually
This
written
is
in
all
English.
written in English. Correct. This is originally written by the Rebbe in English, so you can parse the words as you would any other text written by the Rebbe. Correct. So now it's in the next paragraph, because what does that mean to realize it? Okay. The realization of this purpose entails a two-way correlation. Right? Realizing this purpose where I see my own transcendency and unity of my own nature, and then I see that in the world in which I live, in the truth and oneness of Hashem. So in two directions. One, in the direction from above downward to earth. Right? Bringing the godly into our reality. The other, from the earth upward. Taking our reality and bringing it within the truth of Hashem. Okay. In fulfillment of the first, bringing heaven down to earth, man draws holiness from the divinely given Torah and commandments to permeate therewith every phase of his daily life and his environment, his, quote, share in this world. Right? So part one is bringing godliness into the world is, as I study Torah and I fulfill the Torah's instructions, fulfilling Hashem's will, I'm now bringing Hashem's will into all the things I do in life. When I eat, when I sleep, when I drink, whatever I'm doing it in accordance with Hashem's will. So I'm bringing Hashem's truth into our reality. I'm bringing the divine creator part of me, acting it out into the physical body, into the earthly vessel. Okay. In fulfillment of the second, so now I want to go upward. Man draws upon all the resources at his disposal, both created and man-made, as vehicles for his personal ascendancy, and with him, that of the surrounding world. So there's two things. Number one, I look at Hashem's Torah and I say, okay, what do you want me to do? And whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do. So now when I fulfill all these things you want me to do, I'm now bringing Hashem's will into all this stuff that I'm acting with. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two is, now I'm not looking at Torah, I'm looking at the world. And I'm saying, okay, what do I have at my disposal that can add to my reconnecting to my creator component? Because when I do that, all the things I used are also being elevated to creator component. Right? So there is that ascendancy part. But in my ascendancy, my going upward, am I reattaching myself to my creator component, my spark of neshama, my godliness, I'm using the resources at my disposal to bring me there. So what do I have at my disposal? I have my ability to be kind. I have my ability to be articulate. I have my ability to be whatever my artistic and my whatever abilities I have. These are resources that have been granted to me that I can choose how to use them. I can fulfill Torah and mitzvahs very, very well, and then take my talent and use it completely for something else. And if I fulfill Torah and mitzvahs and use my talents for something else, then I've done part one. I've taken your will, brought it into this world, but I haven't taken my world and brought it into godly. Because my world is my talents, my ability to do whatever it is. But then when I take those abilities and I say, okay, how am I going to use these abilities to connect me to Hashem? Now I've taken the ability, which is an earthly thing, and made it elevated to the godly, from below to above.
Small
Cool.
stupid example, but this Eurovision thing in my house, my baby was screaming, this is like Narishkeit to my girls, like, what are you talking about this even? Don't mention this. And then Molly was saying, so you're a Jewish guy. I'm like, and I was like, but this guy is a singer and these are his God-given talents, like, so he can go and, he's going to go up there and show his talents and feel good, like, why is this bad? And plus, didn't he announce, like, I'm Jewish, and he said Shema, and he wants to fill it, and then that was okay. Then it was okay to participate,
Right.
and for him to sing on a stage, as long as he stood there and said Shema Yisrael in front of everyone and said, I am Jewish.
So the truth is that
Just
his
remind
place
me
in
what
it.
you just said. You're just like,
Okay, so
elevated. I don't know. I just connected with what you just said.
in the way, the fact that for him fulfilling his purpose doing that doesn't necessarily mean that
Tell me
my watching it is fulfilling my purpose. Meaning, if the reason why his neshama came down to this world was to use his God-given talent of music to elevate it towards Hashem and so on and so forth,
Fulfill his purpose.
I don't know. I can't tell you. I have no idea. Maybe
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it's my purpose to then
Watch
participate
I
in
don't
it.
have to participate and watch
It's
it.
not, like my lack of participation is not going to change,
I don't need to be
make it better or worse,
No,
right?
I took issue with the fact that this Jewish person has a gorgeous voice and wants to go compete. Like, well, let him go sing. Like, that's so beautiful. And be
Right, so I have no
beautiful
issue with that.
world.
It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to participate.
Right.
Me, Levi Nu, is not going to participate. He's not going to make his mission better or worse. Right, so I have my talents and things that I have to use for.
Right, but
my
here
purpose.
I'm focusing on the idea that just we can say we have a problem with how he's behaving or not, but just the mere fact of putting on, saying Shema Yisrael and declaring I am a Jew on a
I would
public
definitely say
stage
so. Yeah, I would say it's below to above.
It's below to above.
So there's an example of maybe from above to below. He's not necessarily fulfilling every will of God, but he's definitely taking his talents and bringing it up toward God. Right. So maybe he's going from above to below, maybe not below to above.
No,
Sorry, the other way
I
around.
said below.
Maybe he's going from below to above, not above to below. I don't know.
That's what it said below it.
But it could be the other way around. There are people who are doing all Torah mitzvahs, so they're bringing Hashem's will into this world, but they aren't necessarily tapping into all of their talents to elevate it towards Hashem. That you can have one without the other. In theory, one should be fulfilling both, but in theory, one could be without the other.
Can I interject?
Okay. Yeah.
I remember one of the Rebbe's classes that we were at 9:45 in the morning on Sunday, where he was saying that if there are Jewish people who are not in tune to Torah and mitzvot, it's because their soul is sleeping, and it's our obligation to wake them.
Right.
So,
Not by their fault, by the way. This is God's fault for doing something called exile. That's his
right,
problem.
not by
But
our
yes.
fault. So,
Yeah.
so in that same breath, I could just say that our role is very not necessarily defined, because you could always break out of it, but every single person has its role. And like I'm thinking, I met a person that's tattooed from top to bottom this past weekend, and it was at a wedding, and he had an aliyah his cousin was getting married. I don't know, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, that person whose maybe neshama is kind of sleeping, and it's our responsibility to waken them, but whatever they do does somehow show a connection. And
certainly.
This is where
Absolutely.
I wanted to validate what you were saying.
Yeah, certainly.
But every person is at such a different level that we can't
Certainly.
judge.
This is Hashem's decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, so the paragraph continues. Sorry.
They're realizing their transcendent.
I don't know, I'm not like-
It's not a fulfillment of the transcendency of their. It just brings them.
Perhaps it is, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
But
Perhaps it
what
is.
I was saying is just that these people have a different.
Perhaps it is. For a moment when
Hungry.
he's saying Shema, he's saying I'm bigger than all this stuff, and I live in, I don't know,
Why are we
maybe,
saying
no idea.
most neshamas are sleeping? You just told me my neshama is everywhere and it's pink hat. You just threw that whole concept.
What do you mean?
No one's neshama is sleeping.
They're,
We just haven't.
they're waiting to be activated, certainly.
Just have not
Yeah, exactly.
No, we haven't had no language yet. Expressed. I don't know. There's something.
Expressed, yeah, when you're sleeping, not expressing
Change
yourself. Okay.
all that. No, say this class
You're
changed
not
the
conscious.
concept of
Not conscious.
neshama.
Because not,
Right.
when you're sleeping, you're just not conscious of the
Yeah.
neshama. Like you don't.
No, it hasn't been brought into. I can't explain it. I don't know the language to explain it, but according to what you brought out today, it hasn't been brought into my clothes and expressed through.
Correct.
So I'm sleeping.
So a sleeping neshama is one that has no part of the neshama really enclosed. I mean,
None is probably very, very
yeah,
difficult.
Like there has to be a.
I don't know why we're talking about sleeping neshamas out there in the ether as if like we're always awake. You know, like there's lots of time when our souls are not so awake either. Like as if we're pointing people out there as if like, oh, those guys out there, we're totally awake in our neshama. We're always, I don't know. There's plenty of times when
like babies.
I tell my neshama to hold on for a few minutes while I want to enjoy myself. It's not as if like people out there in the world though their neshamas are sleeping. I'm fully awake and dialed all the time. Like, you know, we can look inside a little bit and find out when we're asleep and awake.
Saying it's a
Like-
concept that at different times, different amounts of
Correct.
neshama
Some
are
expressing. Well, that's certainly the case. Yeah.
Interesting also.
Yeah. Okay.
Even within ourselves sometimes.
Exactly. It's not as if like we're pointing out there in the world. Yeah. All right. So, just to finish this paragraph, it says one of these. Sorry.
I have a
Yes.
question about that. Like if you're saying when we do, let's say, we're doing sin, let's say, and we're bringing a neshama into that. So a neshama is there, but how much of it is it?
It's
Again,
not. It's not being expressed at all. It's not being expressed at all.
But it's there,
But it's there. 'cause
Trapped.
trapped.
The words of Tanya is it's in exile because it's existing in a place that's not it.
Right, because this is talking about how much of a neshama is. He's saying
It's not expressed, but it's there. It's just being dragged into a place that doesn't want to be, which is why it's not expressing itself. Definitely not expressing itself. Like a person in jail, they're there, they're just not expressing themselves. Can't. That's the whole point of jail. Take away your self-expression.
Right, but it remains. What's important is that it still
Certainly.
remains. Doesn't leave you.
No, that's correct. That's why I'm saying the operative word here is enclosed. Something could be there, but it's not enclosed in it because it's not expressing itself and manifest through that vehicle.
no, the reason I'm bringing that up again is because we're talking about how much of a neshama. So we know it's there, but again, how much of a neshama is being brought to exile? Like if we talk
All of it. It's not expressed at all, right? And remember, let's make this clear. Being there and being enclosed, not the same thing. You can be somewhere, but you're not enclosed in that reality.
You're there.
Yes.
So the whole.
No, you're not enclosed in that
there
reality.
this time.
I'll give you a physical example of this. Okay, we're going backwards a bit, but let's just go back to this because make this clear. Where does 1 + 1 = 2 exist? Geographically.
What?
Where does 1 + 1 = 2 exist? It's an idea. It's a concept. Where does it exist? Everywhere. Is 1 + 1 = 2 enclosed in this cup? No, it is enclosed in my brain. My brain understands it. It doesn't exist less in the cup than it does in my brain, because it exists everywhere as a concept. But because my brain is a vehicle for ideas, ideas can be enclosed in my brain. Ideas will not be clothed in this cup, because this is not a vehicle for ideas. Water will be enclosed in this cup. Water will not be enclosed in my brain. That would be unhealthy.
You're not just differentiating between physicality and.
No, I'm differentiating between being present and being enclosed. Not the same thing. That's why I gave this whole analogy before, right? It's not the same thing. Being somewhere doesn't necessarily mean you're expressed through that space. Being enclosed in something means you're being expressed through that medium. And without that medium, you can't express yourself. Because you're lacking the clothing to express yourself.
If I'm somewhere, Hashem putting like, I didn't choose to be there. Hashem put me there.
Put pressure aside for a second. Just understand the concept before introducing
Okay.
spirituality. Just understand the concept. Right? To be enclosed in something means that thing in which you're enclosed is the vehicle by which you're expressing yourself. You can be present somewhere, but completely not expressing yourself. Not at zero, because if you're in a room where you're uncomfortable, you are expressing yourself to some degree because the light's bouncing off you and you're present. Right? But you're not saying anything, you're feeling anxious, you're completely tied up. To say you're expressed in that room, no, you're not. You're uncomfortable. Then there are other places where you're fully expressive, you're very comfortable here, this is your clothing, this is your place, this is where you're expressing yourself. Right? So being present does not equal being expressed.
So you're saying
They're not the same
present,
thing.
but not-
The neshama is always present. It doesn't necessarily mean it's enclosed and expressed through your body. At all.
My mere existence is not an expression of anything you're saying to me. It has to take more action.
90% of the time, my mere existence is an expression of my needs and my urges and my desires and my wants. 90% of the time. And hopefully, I am conscious enough to introduce to it what we're talking about here to realize the transcendency of my neshama. That my neshama is beyond all these stupid needs that I'm running and chasing all the time. And that all these needs that I'm chasing all the time should be elevated within the neshama's oneness with Hashem. That's the work.
So our our ability to clothe something in this physical world is our superpower. That's what.
Correct.
that's
We are the
something
only
that
anomaly. Everything else in the world is static. We are the only anomaly that can go one way or the other. Because we have both in us. We have both creator and creation. So we have both in us, thus we are the only anomaly. Everything else is stuck. Either you're spiritual or you're physical, you're one or the other. Which is back to the point last week about Shavuos, that the giving of the Torah breaks that barrier. Now, through Torah, a Jew can exist in creator and creation and be the link.
Don't kill me, I don't even know what I am anymore.
Sorry?
After this whole discussion, I don't know what I am. I'm a physical being of mine. I don't even understand what I means, what I
Right.
am. Like,
But that's the whole point of the word in clothing. Like,
what am I? Am I even a whole person? I'm not.
that's
I
the whole
don't
point. That's the whole
understand.
idea of one thing being clothed. That's the whole idea of one thing and being enclosed in the other. The whole idea of one thing being enclosed in the other is to say that there are layers to this existence, and one is deep in the other. Right? So I have a feeling, and there are words. So what do you have? You have my words or my feelings? Can you even parse between the two? You can't, because one is enclosed in the other, and therefore you're going to experience it as a singular package, which is a sentence of words that convey a feeling.
I am, according to this shir we've had today, I am this physicality, I am my neshama, I am a
And
whole,
one is
I
enclosed in
am.
the other. That's the point. I can keep stressing this word. To understand what the word enclosed means, it's extremely important to understand this word.
It's the
Again,
expression.
think of
You
the word.
need to
Think of what I'm saying now.
express
I share this feeling with you. What do you have? My words or my feelings? In your mind, what are you thinking about? My words or my feelings?
If someone's smart enough, they'll have both.
Correct. But how can you separate between one and the other? Words are feelings? No, they're not. Feelings are words? No, they're not. And yet what you have is both.
Like,
Because you
if I
cannot.
answer you, I
Hold on a
have-
second.
I have
You-
an idea of Lady New. You're going to tell me that's the wrong answer? Like, you just...
No,
you're
just
saying what
it's,
you
dumb
have.
it down to what. Put everything else aside. Just think of this. Someone told you how they feel.
Yeah,
What do you have in your mind? Their feelings or the
Yes.
word they told you? Which one do you have?
a little bit of both.
Exactly. You cannot have one without the other. Because
Because
one
I'm
is
social
1 second.
reaction.
Because one is enclosed in the other. You cannot have a feeling without words, and the words without feelings are meaningless. Right? So you have to have both. You cannot separate between the two. That's the whole idea of enclothing, where one thing is enclosed in the other, and the feeling cannot be expressed unless it's put into words. And words are meaningless unless there's a feeling in it. Right? So now what do you have? You have the words, and enclosed in it is a feeling.
That's associated with Lady New.
Forget that you knew.
Oh, forgot.
Forget that. Just the feelings I'm giving you. Just understand the analogy of clothing. Forget Levi knew for a second. Just understand the analogy of clothing. Where one thing is invested in the other, and the two now become one singular unit. You cannot have one without the other. Right? Now leave the analog of Levi knew. Someone took my hand and yanked me. What did they do? My body or my neshama? They took my body or my conscience? My conscience stayed behind when they pulled me? Both. Because one are enclosed in the other. Just like when I sent you the words, it's not as if you got the words and the feeling stay behind. The feeling came with the words. Because one is enclosed in the other. And if you cannot have one without the other, you cannot grab my nefesh without grabbing my body, and you cannot grab my body without touching my nefesh also. You cannot have one without the other. Because one is enclosed in the other. That's the operative word to understand. Sorry?
No, but your whole message isn't included, right?
To stop introducing all these different things. Just understand the concept. Go one at a time. Because if we keep on introducing other things, we're going to lose the idea we're trying to convey. So stick with the basic idea we're trying to convey. Understand what the word in clothing means. Just understand the word in clothing. And then you'll add more things.
At a very small level,
Correct.
I understand what it means when you
That's it.
grab when they
One
got
thing
two
is
parts.
invested in
Two
another.
parts. They got two parts when they pulled you.
Correct. One is enclosed in the other, and you cannot parse one from the other. That's the point. Right?
You
Now,
are Lisa, body, and soul.
correct?
Okay, we'll talk about this after. It's not true you can't parse one from the other because there's parts of your neshama that are not going, that haven't
Okay, you're-
expressed. I know.
Well, again, we're introducing new
Yeah.
concepts. But when one thing is enclosed in the other, you cannot parse between the two.
Yeah.
If you're saying
Okay, fair
that there's a neshama that's not enclosed in the body,
Yeah.
now you're acknowledging that there could be the presence of something, but it's not necessarily expressed in it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it's there, it's not enclosed in the body.
Requires the external
There we go.
reality.
So now it's there, but it's not enclosed in your body. There's the point. It can be present, doesn't necessarily equal enclosed. Presence and enclosed, not the same thing.
We work on that every day.
Clear? Right? So the neshama is definitely there. Doesn't necessarily mean all of it is enclosed in my body. That would mean that all of my neshama is expressed in my body. That's not necessarily always true. It's there, certainly. When I'm doing a sin, where's my neshama? It's in the same place it was. But it's not enclosed in my body because it's not expressing itself in my body at all. Right?
Well,
Following?
It has to be enclosed to some degree.
No worries, have a good day. Sorry?
It has to be enclosed to some degree. Always.
To some
Because even the
degree.
Rebbe says it
Yeah.
is enclosed in an earthly vessel. The godly
Correct.
soul is clothed in an earthly vessel.
Right.
That means when you're born, you've done nothing. It's still clothed in an earthly vessel.
Not completely and not fully, right? Because it's not expressing through the body yet, which means it's not going to be fully submerged and enclosed within. Kind of like me giving one sentence to express an idea. So yes, the whole feeling is there, but not really, because you can't unpack it from that little sentence. I need more sentences to unpack it before I can get to the actual feeling, right? So yeah, the feeling is enclosed in that sentence, but very tangentially, very, very little, not fully expressive, because I barely told you anything. I told you one sentence.
And you can't even articulate the full.
And I can't even articulate the whole, exactly. So there's always me part of the feeling that's coming along with the words, but not really enclosed in the words, because the words can't capture it fully. Like the body that cannot capture the full totality of the soul, even though it's going to be there. See, that's why it's important to understand this word enclosed. That's the key here, to understand the relationship between neshama and body.
It's the link, basically.
Sorry?
It's the link.
And that's how I become a link, because I have both, one enclosed in the other. That's how I become a link between creator and creation. Okay, somewhat clear? Got more words for it, hopefully? Yeah, somewhat? Hopefully.
It was explosive.
Oh.
You know what we have to do is take this transcript, put it into ChatGPT,
And ask it to elaborate for you?
and then say, explain to Lisa.
No, I think this is good. These are good questions. It's important to do this, otherwise we don't get it clear.
It's just about framing it differently.
100%. This
Well,
is
the feelings thing was good. I thought that feelings was a good analogy. When you have a feeling and you try to express it,
right. You're trying to enclose it into words, and you're trying to find the right words.
Which are
Correct.
we don't even have the tools. Which you've said about the world. We lack the
Correct.
We lack the words to express what Hashem has created.
Correct.
Actually, so.
Correct. So you're constantly trying to. We are constantly trying to unclothe things from their vessels. We're always. That's every communication. I'm sharing things with you. Their words are coming to you, and you're trying to unpack from the words what the idea is. Right. But you're always going to be stuck with the words, because you cannot have the idea without the clothing in which it's transmitted. Right. Okay. So I want to conclude with tomorrow's Hayom Yom, which wraps up. So the end of the paragraph that we read, reads, one of these basic resources, right? We're talking about using your resources to elevate them towards godly. One of the most basic resources is the vehicle of human language and communication, and that becomes like the introduction to why there's a translation in English, because now we're elevating the English language, plus we're using language to express more of Torah. Okay, that's the rest of the paragraph. We can read that later. So now, just read tomorrow's Hayom Yom in the English. Okay, on the eve of Yom Kippur 5557, which is 1797, the Alter Rebbe taught. He quoted a pasuk, and the pasuk describes the Jewish people's preparation for receiving the Torah. It reads as follows: "Sanctify them today and tomorrow." Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, "Sanctify them today and tomorrow, and they shall cleanse their garments." Garments, clothing. That word again. Okay, so sanctify them today and tomorrow, and they shall cleanse their garments. So explain the Alter Rebbe. Sanctify them today and tomorrow. This is done from above. Hashem is instructing, sanctify them. Right? That's done to you. But they shall cleanse their garments, one must do himself. This was the entire teaching. Okay. So what did the Alter Rebbe just say? That there's a two-way correlation. Hashem invests, sanctify them from above to below, you get the sanctification. But then the garments, the clothing, that's the body that's what we just learned. That the soul is enclosed in the body. So the garment that contains the sanctification you, God, gave me, to cleanse them, that's on me. That's on me to use the garments that I've been given to express the sanctification that you've given me.
It's about revealing blessings.
Revealing Hashem in this world.
They're completely separate concepts.
Right? So sanctify them today and tomorrow, that's done from above, and they shall cleanse their garments, one must do himself. This was the entire teaching. Okay, so now Tzemach Tzedek adds. Tzemach Tzedek elaborated. So that was the Alter Rebbe in 1797. Tzemach Tzedek adds, I guess some years later, sanctify them was said by God to Moshe, the extension of Moshe in every generation, and they are able to sanctify the today and tomorrow. So Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu from above to below, go sanctify them. That means Hashem empowers the Moshe Rabbeinu to give the Jewish people this sanctification, this holiness, both today and tomorrow, whatever that means. But for this is needed, and they shall cleanse their garments, which is the next sentence, which we have to do. The garments of thought, speech, and action. This must be done by each person on his own. So as much as Hashem, through his Moshe Rabbeinus, give us this holiness and sanctification that we're given, right? It's become on us to sanctify our garments, the thought, speech, and action, the clothing in which we express this godliness that we've been given. That's on us. Erev Shavuos teaching.
This is amazing.
Have a wonderful day, buddy. As the bracha goes, Kabbalah Satar B'Simcha B'Pnimius. That's what the Rebbe would wish everybody, and the Rebbe would wish everybody that way, that we should merit to receive the Torah Hashem gives it. As we just learned, right? The sanctification comes. But we should be able to receive it with joy and internalized. Simcha B'Pnimius. Okay, good job, everybody.
Sanctification is not blessing.
No, we're talking about Hashem's holiness.
Tell me another word for
Not blessing,
sanctify.
sorry?
Can you give me another word for sanctify?
Sanctify?
If it's not bless.
Sanctify actually is transcendency of your nature and unity. More words. Sorry. But yes, holy, sanctify. Sanctify literally means transcendent, right? Something which is beyond, something which is higher, something which is godly.
Hashem has made the Yidden.
So Hashem has given us that through Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, we sanctify them today and tomorrow. And then we have to clean our garments. The clothing, the way we express ourselves, our thoughts, our speech, our actions, in which we're going to express either the sanctification or something else. And that's on us.
So express our holiness or
Express our own self-interests. That's going to be on us. So even if the sanctification, the godliness is granted to us, we have to do our end, which is cleanse the garments, the vehicles, the clothing in which we express that. That's going to be on us.
That's from below to above, right?
That's from below to above. Correct.
Beautiful.
Yes, very deep. Okay.
It was a big one.
It's a big one.
Big one.
Okay, wonderful day, everybody. Good jump, Tiff. Kabbalah Stay with some
we literally touched 3 paragraphs. Like we touched one